There are so many triggers. That's a lot of Falcon Wrath Noble triggers. Today on Commander Replay, we find out if Feather the Redeemed can survive going against Whenever Tribal. Next on Commander Replay. The 2020 GoFundMe is active. If you want to do one-on-one deck reviews with me, or get one of your decks played on video, be sure to check out the link in the description below. Welcome back, everyone. Game 2 with Feather the Redeemed, trying out Dominic's deck list today. And I made just a couple changes before the game. Not necessarily things that you have to do, but things that I kind of just wanted to try out for my own curiosity. So we got an extra Gilded Lotus in here. We got Legion War Boss, Loyal Apprentice, Cathar's Crusade, and Dictate of Heliod. A little bit of token support right there. Take a look at this opening hand. No feather spells? No, one piece of ramp in a Talisman. I think I'm going to mulligan that. Like, the mana's good, Hero Bladehold is cool, but nothing else? Yeah, okay, there's a Crimson Wisps. I feel better about a Crimson Wisps. And there's a Weathered Wayfarer, which can get us mana. I like that. Plus, fetch land with Sun Titan. Feels pretty good. We'll keep this hand. Ooh, that's a Leyline of the Void pregame for the Jegantha opponent. Graveyard's out of bounds. It's bad for our Sun Titan, that's for sure. Maybe we'll try and avoid cracking our fetch, see if anyone's going to deal with that Leyline at some point. Wayfarer's Bauble for the Zurzoth opponent. That'll be good for our Weathered Wayfarer. Although we're third in the turn order, so we should be good on that. We draw a Samut Sprint. Let's play the Plains, play the Weathered Wayfarer. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention while I was doing deck edits at the end of the previous game is that because this is a token deck, you could totally run Settle the Wreckage. This is a Sunforger target that will both protect you, and you can use it offensively if you want to. You can exile a bunch of your attacking tokens in the end combat step to get yourself a bunch of lands. So if you're trying to ramp like crazy, you just send in some tokens that you're okay losing, and just turn them into more lands. So yeah, if I were playing Feather tokens, I would definitely be running a Settle the Wreckage. Here comes a Ghostly Pilferer for opponent. Not familiar with this one. When it becomes untapped, you may pay 2. If you do, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. Discard a card, can't be blocked this turn. Interesting. A lot of little abilities on there. Opponent's going to crack their Wayfarer's Bauble and get a mountain. Brings it back to our turn. There's a mountain for us. We don't have anything super exciting lined up, so I guess we're just going to activate the Weathered Wayfarer. What is the best land we have? Probably Ameria or Mistveil Plains. Myriad Landscape, actually not awful. No Ancient Tomb in the deck. There's a Reliquary Tower in the deck. I think I'm going to go for the Mistveil Plains, since that is part of our combo. We are looking to do the Final Fortune combo thing. Chance for Glory. Although we do need to get rid of the Leyline to be able to do that. At least to be able to loop it. We can get one use out of it before everything gets exiled. Wayfarer's Bauble, not in this deck list, but a reasonable piece of early ramp. Though it's kind of a toss-up between running this and running a Signet. I think later in the game, the Signet's a little bit easier to get into play, where the Wayfarer's Bauble is just a teeny bit more disruptive. The 2 to get 1 back immediately versus 3 to get 1 that has to untap, it's a little slow. So it depends on when you draw it. Wayfarer's Bauble's never been like a card that I use a ton, but I'll play it occasionally. Reparations for opponent. Whenever an opponent casts a spell that targets you or a creature you control, you may draw a card. Interesting. Ghostly Pilferer heading over to the Zurzoth opponent. Sure. Oh, you want to know what's going to be terrible? Zurzoth makes you discard a card at random, and no hope of getting that card back because of the Leyline of the Void in play. Which means I might be more apt to like try and keep Zurzoth from attacking and hopefully prevent the draw and discard from Leyline. Discarding is really bad for a Feather deck. It is not a thing that you want to be doing. Library of Lang, pretty good for Feather decks, because you just don't want to be losing those cards. There's a Solemn Simulacrum for opponents, so we won't have to worry about the Zurzoth just yet, but they will get themselves some ramp. A Johnny's Presence. Let's get the Clifftop Retreat. Here's the age-old question. Do we cast Feather unprotected? I don't think so if we have a Johnny's Presence. I think we just Weathered Wayfarer right here. What do we want? I think we want ramp more than we want anything, so grab the Myriad Landscape. Kinda wish we did our lands differently right there. It's going to be awkward. Oops. That kind of stuff matters. That stuff will matter. Wouldn't mind a Walking Atlas in this moment. Try to get some of these lands out of our hand. Ooh, we got a discard. Get rid of the... We have 2 red cards in hand. Well, until someone deals with the Leyline, I don't think it's going to matter that much. Get rid of the Windswept Heath. You can get Myriad Landscape back with the Sun Titan. That will get you a lot of mana. Keru Bloodsucker coming into play for opponent. Whenever a creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies, each opponent loses 2 life, you gain 2 life. Sacrifice another creature, put a counter on it. Alright. Kind of gives like an interesting Blood Artist type of effect for big creatures. Ghostly Pilferer trigger. Arcane Signet coming in, sure. Zurzoth coming into play, there it is. It's going to be kind of awkward for our Crimson Wisps type of effect, all of our cantrips. Will force us to discard. Oh, no. It'll, if whenever we Crimson Wisps, they'll make a thing out of it. Oh, that's a Temple Bell. Yep, here comes the pain. I mean, do we just path that right away? I might. Yeah, opponent's going to activate it. I'm gonna path the Zurzoth. Discard is really bad for Feather. Now, unfortunately, this thing will probably just be back next turn, but we save ourselves for a turn. We get to draw a card. It's a Plains. Brings it back to our turn. There's a Defiant Strike. Yeah, we don't have any multicolor lands right now. Oh, I know what we can do. Play the Mountain, play Feather, and leave up our Clifftop Retreat so we can decide between Defiant Strike, a Johnny's Presence, or Crimson Wisps as necessary. You can also activate the Weathered Wayfarer. So, pass the turn like that. Here comes a Crypt Gas for opponent. That's a pretty good one. Ooh, that's a Cinder Vines. You want to know what's really bad for us? Cinder Vines. When an opponent casts a non-creature spell, deals 1 damage to that player, we'll be doing a lot of that, and they can destroy artifacts and enchantments at will. Here comes an Ishai Ojutai Dragon Speaker. That's also really good against us. Ooh. Yeah, alright. We're going to need some removal to deal with Chaotix this game. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing, by the way. So we have Zombie Caller, 42, piloting Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Saw a little bit of this in the last game. They showed me their opening hand from the last game. It was 5 lands, Soul Ring, and some random artifact creature. So they had a pretty atrocious hand last game. Looks like off to a much better start this game with Crypt Gas and some other stuff. Chaotix piloting Jegantha the Wellspring, and they are on something wacky right here. Looks like an anti-fun kind of deck. Leyline of the Void to shut off graveyards. Reparations so that he draws cards whenever you fire removal at his stuff. Cindervines to punish people for casting spells. Ishai to get bigger when people cast spells. And haven't figured out what this Pilferer is for yet, other than maybe just drawing some cards and doing some stuff. But here comes a Darksteel Ingot. There's a lifelink spell in our deck, and I think that's going to be a really good idea. If we can try and find it. Cindervines will punish us hard. Zurzoth back to play, triggers Ghostly Pilferer and Ishai. If we were going to draw a card, we probably should have did it in response to the Zurzoth right there. Yeah, there's some really good anti-feather stuff on board right now. Zurzoth triggers right here. They get a Devil. Oh, this isn't the discard one yet. Right, okay. Well, might as well give him another Devil. Let's Defiant Strike on Feather. Everyone's tapped out, so this should be safe. Cindervines will get us. Ooh, there's a Loyal Apprentice. I'm excited about this. Brings back to our turn. Defiant Strike comes back. There's a Loyal Apprentice. We have a bunch of lands in hand. We have a Sacred Foundry in the deck. Play the Bloodstained Mire. Crack the Bloodstained Mire. Get Sacred Foundry. Untapped. Part of me wishes I held on to that Path of Exile a little longer, but discard into Leyline just seems so bad for what we're doing. Loyal Apprentice triggers the Ishai. We'll get a Thopter. Thopter is at least good for blocking Ishai. We'll do some attacking this turn. We got a Rakdos opponent. We've got a Devil opponent. Take a poke over to the Devil opponent. Got some open mana. Maybe we Samut Sprint right here. Yeah, we'll Samut's. Put a little extra damage on there. Get ourselves a Scry. Cindervines will get us. Homeward Path on top. I'm not sure we're going to need that. Put that to the bottom. Kind of looking for some mana ramp at the moment. Dockside Extortionist will be very good, given that Chaotix is playing like a heavy enchantment kind of thing over there. Oh, we got to discard hand side. Let's get rid of the Fabled Passage. Chaotix said this is whenever tribal. So whenever things happen, more things happen. Theater of Horrors, I feel like I'm not going to like this very much. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. During your turn, if an opponent lost life this turn, you may play lands and cast spells. Exile with Theater of Horrors, and you can pay to activate it to use that. Okay. So it's card advantage. Conditional card advantage, but does damage, so. Makes sense in a Rakdos deck. Not as bad as it could have been. I was thinking there's some other like really nasty red-black card enchantment that came out at a similar period of time that is not a thing that you want to see. Opponent has a ton of mana. Ooh, Falconwrath Noble. That's a card. So like multiple of these on-death damage type of effects. Yeah, Lifelink's going to be really good for this table. We're down to 33 already. It's not great. There is not a lot of artifact and enchantment removal in this deck. I think we do need to bring that up a bit. I'm not saying every person you run into is going to be like a massive enchantment deck like this, but most decks run 5 to 10 enchantments, and those enchantments are usually pretty good, so you do need to be able to deal with those things. That's an Authority of the Consoles. Shuts off haste for us. Gives Chaotix life gain. There'll be a lot of tokens entering the battlefield with Zurzoth. Cracks a fetch. Kambal. Oh, man. We are going to lose so much life on our spells. Alright, so Chaotix has to die, is where this is all heading. And a Taurine Mauler. Excellent. There's a Blasphemous Act, a Wrath of God, and a Day of Judgment. So we're going to need to find one of them board wipes pretty soon. These creatures are really bad for us. The Falconwrath Noble's not better either. Lightning Greaves for the Zurzoth, yep. Cindervines, Kambal, Ishai, and Taurine Mauler. Equips the boost to the Zurzoth. Ooh, Geth's Grimoire. Whenever opponent discards a card, you may draw a card. Oh boy. That's a problem. Opponent goes down to 24 on that. Eek. Opponent's gonna activate the Temple Bell. We draw Eerie Interlude. That's interesting. Keeps us safe from a board wipe. Auto the Zurzoth trigger. Opponent's gonna make more devils. Authority the Consoles will trigger. Ishai is a 10/10. I have no idea how to deal with that. I guess at some point, if he gets enough devils, then theoretically he could shoot the Ishai, but opponent gonna spread out the damage? Sure. Zurzoth trigger. Hope this doesn't punish us. We could actually lose the Sun Titan. Sun Titan is not the most helpful thing right here, and we do. Sword of the Animist is actually more helpful. Gets Grimoire triggers. Not blocking. Zurzoth up to 9 cards in hand, drops a land, it's a Field of Ruin. Going for an Emeria, not going to make the most sense right here. Dark Dweller Oracle, oh, that's good in that deck. All the card advantage. Pretty soon, Chaotix creatures will be out of range of Blasphemous Act. We need a lot of things to happen right here, and I don't know that we're going to be able to pull them off. It's going to be a lot of life loss to draw like crazy here, so I think I'm going to go Weathered Wayfarer, get the land while we can, since that won't cause us damage. Any lands that help us? I think Reliquary Tower is kind of interesting. I will draw 1, though. Use the Crimson Wisps. Haste won't matter because of the Authority of the Consoles. Triggers a whole bunch of things. There's a Faith Shield. Faith Shield allows us to attack past the Ishai. That's a thing. We're up to 10 cards in hand. Let's get that Reliquary Tower into play. Big time. Let's get the Sword of the Animist. Yep, it's going to hurt a bunch. We are losing 3 life per non-creature spell. Ouch. Equip the Sword of the Animist. Is it worth 3 more life to cast a Faith Shield? I don't necessarily want opponents to know we have a Faith Shield yet, so I think, what are we suiting up? Yeah, let's just suit up Feather. I was going to, overthink it and do a bunch of wild stuff, but decided against that. Didn't leave up Eerie Interlude mana. It's probably an oops, but let's Faith Shield on Feather, losing 3 more life. Ooh. Choosing white. Get a token at the beginning of our attack step. Authority of the Consoles will trigger. Swing into Chaotix. We're down to 23. We could just die. A board wipe would probably kill us if opponents focus us. Sword of the Animist will trigger. What do we need? We have a lot of white spells. Get a Plains. Opponent takes 4 Commander, down to 44. Spell's coming back at the end step, but we have no max hand size. Opponent gets to exile with Theater of Horrors. Liliana of the Dark Realm's coming into play. It'll pain opponent. Trigger all the things. Ooh, Extort is in the mix too. If they start extorting, it's going to be really bad. Exiles a Vanquisher's Banner. Here comes Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Yep. 1 left over for the Extort. We're at 22. Triggers going off left and right. Authority of the Consoles. Opponent's going to search for a swamp with the Liliana. Obnixilis Hate Twisted. Whenever an opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage to that player. Oh my. Destroy target creature. Its controller draws 2 cards. Eek. Shooting Feather. Warmth. Whenever an opponent casts a red spell, you gain 2 life. Oh my. Yeah, we've got a few of those. Also, 3 red decks at the table. So, yep, they are likely to gain a lot of life. Obnixilis Hate Twisted is probably going to force Zurzoth into Chaotix. Because, or at least maybe it just kills the devils and then shoots the Planeswalker. But with all these draw effects, everyone's going to lose a lot of life. And with the Geth's Grimoire, he's liable to lose even more life. We really can't draw very well because it costs so much life to draw cards. Yeah, we really need that lifelink spell. So badly. Lifelink and, like, double strike. Opponent's going to attack with 3 devils, 1 into each opponent. Triggers the thing. Triggers up Nixilis. There's a generous gift. That is a start. Hopefully we don't discard that. Obnixilis, Hate Twisted, triggers a bunch of times. Authority of the Consoles will trigger. Yeah, opponent's down to 17. Unfortunately, all of our blockers have 1 toughness, so we'll just take that damage. Under normal circumstances, I would probably protect the thing, but yeah. Kith has 11 cards in hand. I mean, if he's got a Chaos Warp, it's probably got to go in Chaotic's direction. Board wipe would not be awful. Blasphemous Act does not kill the Dragon Speaker. Still enough on it to get Taurine Mauler, though. And this Cabal, which would be a big deal for us. Tybalt's Rager. When it dies, deals 1 damage to any target. It's a devil. Triggers the things. Yeah, opponent's getting wild in the chat. Opponent plays an Iron Crag Pyromancer. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, deals 3 damage to any target. Ooh. They've already drawn, though. They could, like, Temple Bell, maybe? They would need 2. But that could shoot the Cabal, and that would be super ideal. Alhammeret's Archive. Okay. So now they can Temple Bell and then shoot something for 3 on the next turn. That'll be Cindervines, Cabal, and Ishai. Yep. Opponent's down to 14. Endstep, I think... Let's see, opponents are tapped out. Yeah, I think just Weathered Wayfarer. Any lands that help? We'll grab Homeward Path. Never a bad idea to have one of those around. I don't think we're casting any spells this turn. Opponent's going to Temple Bell. Yep. If they shoot Cabal right here, maybe we do something, but we'll see. Triggers Obnixilis, triggers Zurzoth, triggers Iron Crag Pyromancer. Huh. Iron Crag seems kind of interesting for Feather. 3 mana, 0/4, you know. But, yeah, occasionally when you fire off Crimson Wisps, getting 3 damage out of it, not a bad deal. They're going to fire the 3 at Obnixilis. That's a Blasphemous Act. Well, we found it. Problem is, Taurine Mauler now out of range. That'll get rid of the Cabal, though, and Cabal needs to go. Ooh. Oh. Oy. Our life total's gonna be really low. Oh! Opponent just mentioned that because of Leyline, there are no death triggers. Well, in that case, good talk. See you out there. Thopter comes in tapped. I'm going to send these 2 Thopters into the Obnixilis. Feather into the Liliana. We can tick down the Obnixilis, but we can't kill it. Assuming they block. Get the Sword of the Animus trigger. Let's get another Plains. So let's Eerie Interlude on Loyal Apprentice, Feather, and Weathered Wayfarer. Gonna feel this. Oh, Obnixilis went down to something. I don't know what it died. Oh, he didn't block. I don't know why he didn't block. I was kind of hoping it was going to stay alive, honestly, because of the Devil's opponent. Because they, like, really can't do anything if they're trying to draw a bunch of cards and do all that nonsense. Bunch of things trigger. Feather choice to go to the command zone. We're going to go no on that. Let's drop down the Blasphemous Act. Whole bunch of things trigger. Okay, so we've started down this road, and, like, after casting the Blasphemous Act, I'm like, no death triggers actually changes the thing a bit, because, like, Kithron would have probably had enough to swing in for, like, some kind of meaningful damage, but now that all that stuff's getting blown up, I think we shoot the Leyline right here, even though we probably really need to shoot the Cindervines also. But now we are, like, in super danger of needing that lifelink spell. So a bunch more triggers. We're losing more life. Leyline gonna go down. Opponent gains 2 life. Ishai, Taurine Mauler, Blasphemous Act. There are so many triggers. That's a lot of Falcon Wrath Noble triggers. We will get dinged for 2 more, unfortunately, because of the Keru Bloodsucker. Not ideal. All the Falcon Wrath triggers appear to be at Chaotix. There's many Devil triggers going onto the stack here. Solemn Simulacrum trigger. So there's all the triggers lined up. There are a lot of them. Taurine Mauler goes down. Ishai goes down, had just enough to get both of them. That's awesome. Draws with the Solemn Simulacrum. Many Falcon Wrath triggers. It's probably about 20 triggers. Took quite a bit of lag right there, waiting for all that to resolve, and then finally the Keru trigger at the end here. Down to 6. Ouch. New life total 7139. Kithron at 10 and ourselves at 6. Play the Myriad landscape. Actually, no, we can still protect our stuff, right? Yeah, we'll have things to protect, so get the planes. Feather coming back at the end step. Everything coming back at the end. Still don't know how we win. Oh, they come in tapped. Ugh. I mean, opponent could just, like, kill us with Theater of Horrors. That's how bad things are. Still got a Cindervine to deal with. Kind of shuts off casting spells for the most part. There's a Cabal Coffers for opponent. Not a ton of extra mana yet, but a little bit. Sir Conrad for opponent. That's more death triggers. Sir Conrad's bad. Unless other players, like, play a lot of removal, I don't know that we can, like, actually get out of this situation. Tainted Remedy. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Lifelink off the table. Makes Chaotic's Warmth kind of deadly against himself. Cindervine's still an issue, though. I don't know. Maybe we were better off just, like, not doing anything last turn. Maybe the Blasphemous Act. Well, I guess with the Blasphemous Act, we had the chance to get rid of Ishai and Taurine Mauler, which I guess kind of makes sense. But it did cost us a lot of life to do that. Oh, nice. Cindervines goes down. Opponent's going to shoot Tainted Remedy with Cindervines. That is exactly the thing we want, because the red spells would kill him super quickly. We have some kind of chance. It's still really small. It's probably single-digit percentages, but it is more than the 0 that it was. Oh, that's a Flameblade Adept. Flameblade Adept is not great either. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you, deals 1 damage to that source's controller, that's not a thing that can stay in play. But at least we can cast spells and get value. So, like, we can potentially draw our way into another piece of creature removal. But we are going to need a few of those, because there's also a Sir Conrad that won't be able to stick. Chaotic says maybe he should have called this deck Karen. Kithron's got 11 cards in hand, a bunch of mana. Let's see what he's got going. Temple Bell and Makokoro will get him double on the draws. There's Brawlin Sky Shark. You want to know what's really bad? Brawlin. 1 damage each opponent. Whenever you discard a card, they have a bunch of cards in hand. They are above the max hand size. Authorities trigger. Partner trigger. Ooh, you want to know what's interesting? Is when Brawlin deals damage to KO, Flameblade Angel will deal damage back. I've always wanted to run this one. I have one in a box somewhere. Just 6 CMC gets crowded in the Angel deck, and it's not, like, the most impactful against a large number of decks. Against, like, various red decks, probably not awful, but there's a Glinthorn Buccaneer. Oh, we're probably going to die this turn. I don't know that there's a lot we can do. We need to find that lifelink card super badly. That's a Wheel of Fortune. Good game. Might as well save the face shield, right? Off chance of a counterspell. Oh, you want to know what's interesting? There is actually a chance that we survive based on this Flameblade Angel, because there is some weird world in which Flameblade Angel could kill them before all of the triggers resolve. That would be interesting. So there's a Kozilek, Geth trigger. Sir Conrad will probably get us. Oh, wow, there's an Angel's Grace. So if we had left that mana up, I did not plan for that. We could actually survive now. We could survive, but we're not exactly thriving. I don't know that we can't attack KO. Sir Conrad probably kills us the second we untap. Opponent probably just active. Yeah. It would buy us a turn, theoretically, but unless something crazy showed up, I don't think it's really going to matter. Yep, that's many more triggers. Flameblade Angel triggers starting to occur now. We're down to 3. Opponent has 28 cards in hand. Now up to 30. So in their end step, they would more or less kill the table, I think. Yeah, they have double whatever they discard, so I think everyone's dead. There's still the Flameblade Angel, though, so trigger timing is going to matter quite a bit right here. I still think we're out of it, but yeah, there's a bunch of Brawling triggers. We will not survive that unless, like, KO has, like, direct damage or something that they shoot before all the triggers resolve, then it's going to be good night for us. He's got a Lightning Bolt. So Kithron fires a Lightning Bolt at Chaotic's face. Going to tap the Temple Bell. Has 45 cards in hand. There's a Maria. That's probably just so we could tap out, I think is what's happening right here. Flameblade Angel. Super cool art. I have one of the promo ones too. Just never quite made the Angel deck. Maybe I should just put it in there. See how it does for a little while. Always fun to test new things out. Yep, down we go. Alright, so I didn't plan for the Angel's Grace. Assuming that I had, and we survive at 1. We had an Enlightened Tutor in hand, which means we could have gotten Sunforger. I guess we could have started the turn loop, but it also assumes that Chaotix doesn't have something with his 2 blue right here. We could have tried the Sunforger loop. Angel's Grace would be down, though, but we could cycle it back. Somewhere in that loop, we would have to get rid of Theater of Horrors and Sir Conrad. Oh, and the game is restarted. Down it goes. All right, well, that's gonna be that, I guess. Apparently, the game cannot handle whenever tribal. Okay, so the thing that becomes blatantly apparent after this game is more removal. We had a lot of feather spells, terrible against Cindervines and Kumbal. Just not a place you want to be, just super, super punishing. Also having a red deck at the table that's essentially a burn deck and the Falcon Wrath in play, that's just like all the stuff nightmares are made of. So because there are a lot of tokens in this deck, I'd probably look at a Settle the Wreckage. Getting extra mana like that can be really good, but I think the big thing is going to be artifact and enchantment removal. There's almost none. You've got Generous Gift and Chaos Warp. That looks like it. So one of the big things, if you can get Austere Command, I think they're cheaper now. They are down to about $7, give or take, so I would switch one of these out for an Austere Command. And then I would look at Heliod's Intervention. And you've got some choices. You can go Return to Dust, Crush Contraband. I'm a fan of Return to Dust personally. If you want the Sunforger target, or if you don't care about Sunforger as much, you can go for Dismantling Wave. Is also a really nice piece. So I would definitely add a little bit of artifact and enchantment removal into the deck. What can we pull out? I thought Loyal Apprentice was solid, just getting those Thopters right there. You know, we didn't get any other like token support to really bring them home. And that's kind of what I was talking about adding a Cathar's Crusade and a Dictate. If we have Dictate or Cathar's Crusade, those Thopters start to matter a lot more. We're at 102. What would I cut? We can pull out some of these test cards. I do like them. Yeah, we'll drop the Dictate. Cathar's gets really good because things can get huge in a hurry. We didn't ramp the best in this game. We had the Sword of the Animus, but it was kind of slow. Wasn't really getting us ahead of our opponents, even though it was tough to cast spells. So, like a Gilded Lotus in there would have not been awful. Swift Justice adds lifelink, and we could have used that pretty badly that game. That would have helped a bit. We can cut some of these new test cards that I was talking about. I do really like them, and I would certainly give them a lot of consideration, but just for the sake of getting down to 100 here, let's go. Let's drop the Gilded Lotus, drop the Legion War Boss, I guess, and we'll keep those two. Now we've got two really crucial pieces of artifact enchantment removal with Heliod's Intervention and Dismantling Wave. And on top of Generous Gift, Chaos Warp, and an Austere Command, that's plenty of artifact and enchantment removal, and that gives you a lot of outs against what we saw in games like this. And I'm not saying you're going to run into exactly these decks, but some decks just like a lot of enchantments. You want to have ways to deal with that. I have found a lot of success in just having a large number of ways to deal with artifacts and enchantments. Artifacts and enchantments, they're not always the thing that make you directly lose the game, but they kind of can play the setup role and are kind of the thing that indirectly lead to you losing the game. So by taking them out, you can really save yourself a lot of headaches. So I do like having a lot of removal there. Settle the Wreckage, like I said. Token deck, you can use it proactively to ramp yourself, and that's something that I may have considered in this game if things weren't absolutely wild the way they were, but just a nice thing to have around. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Kind of a wild game. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, in addition to my TCG affiliate player link, I now have an affiliate link with Flipside Gaming, an LGS from my hometown. You can use the promo code REPLAY to save 10% on your next order over $10. Both affiliate links are in the description below. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.